Alright, so we are now going to solve problems related to special products and factoring. So we are going to apply what we have learned in the special products and factoring in order for us to solve sample problems. Okay, so these are the steps that will help to translate and solve the problem. So number one, read through the entire problem because we're going to understand the problem, the given problem. Number two, organize the information. So when we organize our information, a drawing may be helpful. So meaning to say, we're going to illustrate them using illustrations or drawings. Next, number three, we're going to write the equation. And then, after writing the equation, we're going to solve it. So, solve the equation. And afterwards, we're going to check the answer. Why do we need to check the answer? Because some of the values, especially of the x, will not be possible. Okay? So, later you will be able to understand why is it that they are not possible as values of x. Alright? So, let's begin with the first problem. So this is all about number problem. So in number problem, we are asked to find numbers. Okay, so let's have the first problem. So the product of two consecutive integers is 132. Find such pairs of integers. Now take note that the product of two consecutive integers. So meaning to say, there are two numbers, okay, two consecutive, okay, consecutive. So when we say consecutive, they are continuous. Like say for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So they are continuous. All right. So the product of the two continuous or consecutive integers is 132. So when you multiply the two numbers, their product will be 132. So, we're going to find these integers. Now, what are we going to do? So, let x, so we'll start with this one. So, we're going to represent. So, let x be the first number. Okay? So, let x be the first number. Okay. Now, because it is consecutive, okay, so meaning to say, we're going to get the number next to x. Okay, so if you're going to look at here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are consecutive. How do we get the next number? So, if we look at the first number, this is 1, and then we add 1, we get the next number, which is 2. So, 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, how do we get the next number? So, 2 plus 1 equals 3. And then 3 plus 1 equals 4. So meaning to say, what do we do with the first number or with the previous number? We add 1 to the previous number to get the next number. So in this case, we're going to add 1 to the first number. So if our first number is x, so that will be x plus 1. So x plus 1 be the second number. Alright. Now, let us now write the equation. Now, understand properly the given problem. The product, so multiplication of the two consecutive integers. So, we represented already the two consecutive integers. Okay? So, these are the two consecutive integers, x and then x plus 1. So, represent the product. So, x times x plus 1. Okay? So, again, the product of these two consecutive integers is equal to 132. Okay. Next is, we already have the equation here. So, what are we going to do next? We just multiply. Okay? So, x times x here will become x squared. X times 1 will become x, then equals 132. Okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is to transpose 132 to the other side. So that will become x squared plus x minus 132 is equal to 0. Alright, so we already have this. And we know for a fact that this is factorable. Okay, so this is factorable. So the factors of this will be x plus 12. Okay, so remember you're factoring x plus 12 and then x minus 11. So when you factor, you use the trial and error method or you use the box method. Alright, so now because we have x plus 12, okay, times x minus 11 is equal to 0, we're going to apply what we call as the zero product property. Okay, so that's zero product property. So, what do you mean by zero product property? So, when we say zero product property, because these two factors are multiplied and they are equated to 0, we can express them in terms of separate, okay, equations. So, x plus 12 is equal to 0 and the other one will be x minus 11 is equal to 0. So, you just separated the two. Now, how do we get the value of x? So, you isolate the value of x. Meaning to say, you're going to transpose here positive 12 going to the other side. So, that will become negative. So, x will be equal to negative 12. And then, do this also to the other side. So, x minus 11 equals 0. So, transpose to the left, to the other side, I mean. So, that will be x is equal to, so since it's negative, so that will become positive. So, positive 11. Okay, so we have two values of x. So, the first value of x is negative 12 and the second value of x is equal to 11. Now, look at that. We have the values of x already. So, that will be our first number. Okay, so our first number is x. Now, how do we get the second number? Go back to the representation. Your second number is x plus 1. So, what do you do? What do you do with the x? So, you just add 1. So, in this case, x plus 1, okay, will be equal to, so substitute the value of x, negative 12. So, here we have negative 12 plus 1. Okay, so that will be equal to negative 11. So, therefore, your first number is negative 12 and your second number is negative 11. Now, next, so for the other value of x, so we have x is equal to 11. So, that will be your first number. Okay, now, what do we do again to get the second number? We add. So, x plus 1. So, that will be, the value of x is 11. So, 11 plus 1. So, that is equal to 12. So, this is your first number, positive 11. And then, this is your second number, positive 12. Now, let's check. So, since the problem tells us the product of two consecutive. Now, let's check. Are they consecutive? Okay, so, yes. Because next to negative 11 is negative 12. And then, next to 11 is 12. So, they are consecutive. Now, let's check if their product is indeed 132. Now, negative 11 times negative 12, negative times negative is positive, right? Okay, let's represent them. So, negative 11 times negative 12 is positive, of course. And then, 11 times 12 is 132. So, we are correct. Next, so, again, positive 11 times positive 12. So, that is still equal to 132. Okay? So, meaning to say, we have different values. Okay? But, they are consecutive and they produce the same product, which is 132. So, find all such pairs of integers because they are paired. So, pair of negative and then pair of positive. And they are all consecutive. Alright? So, that is our first problem. So, let's proceed to the next problem. Okay, so let's look at this. The product of two consecutive even Okay, two consecutive even integers is 48. Find all such pairs of integers. Now, a while ago, we represented them in terms of variables. Okay, so again, let's do that. So let x be the first number, and then since it is even, how are we going to get the next number? Okay, so if we have even number, all right, and suppose you begin with 0, okay, so the next even number will be 2, correct? Because 0 plus 2 is 2. And then, the next to this will be 4, correct? So, meaning to say, 2 plus 2 will be equal to 4. And then, plus 2 again, so 6. So, meaning to say, what do we do with the first number to get the next consecutive even integer? So, we add 2. So, therefore, x, so our second number will be x plus 2. Alright? So, x plus 2, let x plus 2 be, okay, wait. So, x plus 2 be the second number. Okay. So, just like what we did a while ago, we're going to again solve the equation. So, because product of two consecutive even integers, so we're going to multiply them. So, this will be x times x plus 2 will be equal to 48. Okay, so let's multiply. So, x times x here will be equal to x squared. X times 2 there will be equal to, so plus 2x will be equal to 48. And then, we're going to transpose 48. So, this will be x squared plus 2x minus 48 is equal to 0. Okay? And then, this is factorable. So, we are now going to factor. Okay. So, the factors of x squared plus 2x minus 48 is, okay, are x plus 8 times x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, so these are the factors. And then, apply the zero product property. So, x plus 8 will be equal to 0. And then, x minus 6 will be equal to 0. Okay, so let's now solve for the value of x. So, transpose. So, this will be x equals negative 8. Then, transpose there. So, x is equal to positive 6. Okay, now, because the second number is x plus 2, so that will be x plus 2. So, substitute negative 8. So, negative 8 plus 2, that will be equal to negative 6. Okay, so these are the two consecutive. Okay, negative. Okay, so correct. So, negative 6, the next will be negative 8. So, even. They are still even. So, let's try to solve for the other one. So, we have the first number 6. So, what do we do to get the second number? So, x plus 2. So, 6 plus 2, that will be equal to 8. So, again, they are consecutive. Okay, so let's again check. So, the pairs of integers are negative 6, okay, and negative 8. So, 6 times 8 is 48. Negative times negative is positive. So, we're correct. Next, 6, again, positive 6, and then positive 8. That is still equal to 48. So, we are correct. Okay, so this is the second problem. Okay, now, let's look at the third problem. So, the third problem is about area. Alright, so we're now going to get the area. Now, find the area of a rectangular swimming pool if the length is x plus 7 and the width is 2x minus 3. Now, when you say area and it is rectangular, so rectangle. So, let's try to draw because the drawing will help us to represent. Okay, so suppose this is our swimming pool. Alright, and then that's rectangular. And then it says the length. So, your length, okay, is x plus 7. And then your width, okay, is 2x minus 3. So, what are we looking for? It's the area of the rectangle. So, what is the area of the rectangle? So, the formula is area is equal to length times width. Okay? So, this is our length and this is our width. Okay? So, we are just going to multiply. Okay? So, length is x plus 7 and then our width is 2x minus 3. Okay? So, simply, you're just going to apply the FOIL method or the distributive property. Okay? So, x times 2x is 2x squared and then x times negative 3, that will be negative 3x. 7 times 2x will be, so, plus 14x, and then 7 times negative 3, that will be negative 21. And then, to get the area, you just simplify. Combine similar terms. So, this will be 2x squared plus 11x minus 21. So, this is our area. Alright. So, next. The length of a rectangle is twice the width. So, meaning to say, when we say twice, you multiply it by 2. So, twice. Okay? It's different from 2 more than the first number. So, you add. Okay? If that is the case. But if it is twice, meaning to say, you multiply. So, again, the length of a rectangle is twice the width. Okay? So, the length would be twice the width. If the area of the rectangle is 288 meters squared, find the length and the width. So, we're going to represent. Okay? So, rectangular shape. And then, so, the length of a rectangle is twice the width. So, meaning to say, our x will be the width. Okay? So, let x be the width. Alright. Now, it said that the length of rectangle is twice the width. So, what are you going to do? So, 2x be the length. Okay? So, that will be our length. So, our length is this one. So, this will become 2x. And then, our width is this one. So, this will become x. Now, the problem says that the area is equal to 288 meter squared. So we're given already with the area. Now, we're going to look for the length and then the width. Okay, what is the measure of the length and what is the measure of the width? Okay, we're going to find the values of x. Now, remember that the area of the rectangle is equal to length times width. Okay, now, we have already the area. So, the area is 288. Okay? So, that's 288. Just write the number. No need to write the unit. So, meter squared. So, that will be equal to, your length is 2x. Okay? So, we're going to multiply this with the width. So, our width is x. Okay, so let's see. So, 288 is equal to 2x squared. Okay, now, we're going to solve. So, because we have 2x squared here and we have 288 here, so we can just isolate the x squared, by dividing it by 2. Okay? So, what remains here is x squared. Okay? And then, 288 divided by 2 is actually 144. Now, how are we going to remove the square? So, get the square root. Okay? So, you get the square root of both sides. So, in this case, we have x. The value of x will be equal to, so, the square root of 144 will be 12. Okay, so that is our value for x. So, that is 12. Okay, now, you can also do this by factoring. Okay, so if you want to factor this out, like 288 is equal to 2x squared, and then, or we can just write this as 2x squared. It's just the same. Then 288. Okay, then you transpose 288 to the other side. So that will be 2x squared minus 288 is equal to 0. Okay, now, this is factorable by common monomial factoring. Okay, so we have 2 outside, and then inside is x squared minus 144 equals 0. Now, look at this, x squared minus 144. Alright, so, this product will be coming from the sum and difference. Okay, so that would be 2 times x plus, since it's 144, perfect, so 12. Okay, and then x minus 12, so equals 0. Then you just apply again the zero product property. So for the first one, you have 2 times x plus 12 equals 0, and the other one is x minus 12 is equal to 0. Okay, so here, so you just divide, or you can multiply, that's okay. So let's look at this. So divided by 2, okay, 2, so what remains is x plus 12 equals 0. Then transpose, so that will be x is equal to negative 12. Okay, in this case, you transpose negative 12, making it positive. So x is equal to 12. So just the same with the first one. Although, we have two values. So the first is negative 12 and the second is positive 12. Now, come to think of it, are we going to get negative 12 as the length? Okay, as the value for the length or the width? The question is, do we have a negative measurement in terms of the length? Alright? So the answer is, we don't have negative. Okay? So you don't say, how many kilometers away is this place? So no one would say it is negative 1,000 kilometers. Okay? So that's not a realistic measurement. So it's always in terms of positive. So we are just going to get the positive 12. Okay, now look at this. So your length is twice, so 2x. So therefore, your length will be 2x. Now get the value of x. So 2 times 12. So this will be 24 meters. Alright, so our length is 24 meters. Now, our width is, of course, because the value of x is 12 and the width is x. So, therefore, our width is equal to 12 meters. Okay, so if you multiply the two, 24 meters, okay, times 12 meters, that will be equal to 288 meter squared. Okay, so it's just the same. So, again, the answer here is, your length is 24 meters and your width is 12 meters. Okay, so this is all about area. Let's proceed to the next problem. Okay, so this is all about the triangle problem. Now, if we have this, say for example, the hypotenuse of a right triangle is 17 meters long. If one leg is 7 meters longer than the other leg, how long are the two legs? Okay, now, we have a right triangle. Okay, so if we're going to draw a right triangle, it's like this. You have a right angle. Now, what does it say? The hypotenuse of a right triangle is 17. So, the hypotenuse is the longest side, okay, of the right triangle. So, this is our hypotenuse. So, therefore, this is 17 meters long. Now, it says, if one leg is 7 meters longer than the other, one leg, so there are two legs. So, this is the first leg, okay, and this is the other leg. But, the other leg is 7 meters longer than the other. So, let X be the first leg, and then the other leg will be 7 meters longer than the other leg. So, if your first leg is X, and the second is 7 meters longer, so you just add 7. So, this will become X plus 7. Okay? So, that's it. Now, how are we going to solve this? Okay, in order for us to get the values of our legs. Okay, so we have what we call as the Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So, the Pythagorean theorem states that the square of the legs, okay, will be equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Okay, so the legs are represented by A and B. So, suppose this is your A, and then this is your B. Okay, so they have already measurements. Okay, now, what we're going to do is to substitute. Okay, for A is x. So, you get the square. So, that will be x squared. Your B will be, so plus x plus 7 squared. And then we have the value for the hypotenuse, which is 17 meters. So, 17 squared. Okay, now, all we need to do is to simplify this. So, x squared, okay, plus. So, x plus 7 squared, okay, square of a binomial. So, again, you learned already about the square of a binomial. So, this will become x squared. The middle term will be twice the product of the first term and the last term. Okay, so twice. So, 2 times. Okay, 2 times x times 7. So, that will be 14. So, x squared plus 14x plus, get the square of the last term. So, 7 squared will be equal to 49. And then, 17 squared will be equal to 289. Okay, so we're now going to simplify. So, x squared plus x squared is equal to 2x squared. Okay, plus 14x plus 49. And then, you transpose 289 to the other side. So, making it negative 289 is equal to 0. Okay, let's now again simplify. So, this will be 2x squared, okay, plus 14x, okay, 49 minus 289. So, that will be negative 240. So, equals 0. Okay, now look at this and ask yourself, is this factorable? Okay, is there a common monomial factor in here? Okay, so we have, so 2 times, so x squared plus 7x minus 120. Alright, equals 0. Okay, now, this is now factorable. So, x squared plus 7x minus 120 is still factorable. Okay, so we can just simplify. So, 2 times, the factor of this will be x minus 8 and then x plus 15. Okay, so that will be equal to 0. Again, applying the zero product property. So, we have the first 2 times x minus 8 is equal to 0. And then, x plus 15 is equal to 0. So, you can just divide this by 2. Okay, so x minus 8 is equal to 0 divided by 2 is just 0. So, transpose. So, this will be x is equal to positive 8. Okay, let's go to the other side. So, x plus 15. So, transpose. This will become negative 15. Now, again, ask yourself, which of these two values of x are we going to get as a realistic number to get the measurement? So, we're going to go for the positive. Okay, so because there's no negative length. Alright, so positive. So, x is equal to 8. Now, because this is x, so automatically, this will be the first side. Okay, so therefore, the first side is 8. How are we going to get the next side? So, again, that will be x plus 7. Okay, so substitute the value for x, that is 8. So, 8 plus 7, that is equal to 15. Okay, so therefore, we now have the two measurements. So, the legs, okay, so the legs are, okay, 8 meters and 15 meters. Alright, so we have now solved the problem. The other leg is, yan, 7 meters longer than the other leg. Alright, so this is how we apply special products and factoring in solving problems. So, in this case, related to numbers, areas, and then, of course, triangles.